Welcome everybody. This is BMI and RingCentral's joint webinar. We are looking at, of course, navigating the future of secure communication. To give you a little bit of housekeeping to kick things off so you know what we're talking about, why we're talking about it, who's talking about it, all those sorts of things. First and foremost, you're on the RingCentral platform already. I know some of you, say Andrew and John, who are participating right now, already are in RingCentral. Some of you guys, this might be your first time. You might see that it is very similar, very straightforward, and very simplistic to join. We partnered with RingCentral last year because of how powerful it is. And ultimately, between RingCentral and I'm going to say it, when I was down in the US and I was at a securities conference and class and educational kind of in-house teaching session right before everything got crazy. And one of the things that I learned there was the fact that physical security is kind of the crux, a foundational element of being able to operate in modern society. To steal a motto or a mantra from one of our participants, security really allows you the freedom to be who you want to be. But security and physical is not where things end. There's also the mental security that you have to have, as well as the digital security. So when RingCentral and I started talking, and Steve and Ken specifically, as well as Greg and Jason with their support, we started talking about what would be something that we could provide to you, our participants, that would be something you can take away, either inspiration, an idea, a solution to a problem you already have, a new feature to the software that you're already using that you didn't know about, or reassurances that, you know, BMI, RingCentral, and anybody that's surrounding us is really looking at these things from super high levels so that you don't have to worry about the day-to-day operations. It's what Bickert Management wants to be doing and strives to do for all of its community, not just its clients, of course. To that end, we brought on Steve and Ken. Now, I have Steve's bio right here. Steve, fantastic cook. He also is the senior field partner trainer. Say that 5 times fast. He's in sales, management, leadership, training, development, and he's been in communications basically for 16 years. So he knows the ins and outs a lot better than I do, and a lot better than I would imagine most of us do, as far as seeing the evolution of where we were, where we are, and where we're going. So with that, I'd like to just talk really, really briefly about, you've got a Q&A and a chat option as participants. Any questions you have, throw in the Q&A. That will show up for either myself, Greg, Jason, Ken, or perhaps Steve, if he's not got his hands full cooking. We'll be able to answer those questions for you, either direct or live. And we've got our chat. The chat, of course, is to everybody. So by all means, we encourage you to participate and ask questions, give us your feedback, give us your comments, and make this a discussion. It's not so much designed to be we're talking at you. It's supposed to be we're talking with you. So by all means, I will turn this over, and Steve, take it away.
Great, thanks, Jason. I appreciate it, and thank you everybody for being here today. First and foremost, I will explain why I'm standing up here in a kitchen. Typically, you know, when I've been attending a lot of things over the last few months, I've been sitting down. It's kind of been the same presentation style, same information. And we thought we would just change things up a little bit, just kind of lighten the mood, not only provide you with some great information, but at the end of this day, since this is a brunch and learn, I am going to share with you an email and I'll send out, and I'm about to put it in the oven because I actually am cooking. So this is my dream to be Guy Fieri. So thank you for letting me live out my dream. But this is my mother's family recipe for this chili egg puff casserole. And I'm going to throw that in the oven here in just a minute. And then after the call today, I'm going to send that email out to you as well. It's very simple to make. I know that for a fact because I'm making it. So again, cheers for being here. I appreciate your time. And one other thing I want to mention, actually a few other things. First of all, you know, there's that old saying, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Well, we're going to change that to there is such a thing as a free brunch. So today we are actually going to be giving out some gift cards, sending to you for attending today. So we appreciate that. It'll be coming from Tango Visa. I would just like to let you know that that sometimes will show up in your spam box. So just be aware of that. You should get that sometime next week, and just look for an email from Tango. In addition to that, like I said, we want to make this interactive, engaging, and fun as well. I'm going to have some giveaways throughout. So I get to play somewhat of a host, chef, and game show host at the same time. Kind of collaboration of all of them. But so pay attention, because we're going to use the chat pod, not the Q&A pod, but we will use the chat pod to answer some of the questions. And again, we'll be giving away some more Visa gift cards based on the presentation. But most importantly, please ask questions in that Q&A. There's some brilliant people behind the scenes here to help answer those questions. After I'm done with my presentation, I just want to give you some information about RingCentral, what we can provide, some of the things that we offer, and some of the tools that we have. And then I'm going to turn it over to our solutions engineer, Ken Blanc, who's 10 times smarter than myself when it comes to technology. He's really, our solutions engineers are the geniuses in the company, and he's going to give you a demonstration on some of the things that we have, talk about our compliance and certifications, and some more. So we'll pass it over to Ken here in just a little bit. All right, with that being said, let's jump right into it. And, you know, one of the things that I want to begin discussing is talking about future proofing and where we're going in the future. Now, everyone's aware of everything that's been happening. Jason, you mentioned the craziness that started back in March and April and February. And I don't want to focus on that. What I want to focus more on is what's ahead. And I'm going to share a few statistics that really look at the future and where companies are going and how they're managing their communications, their mobility as a company, and the tools that they're going to be utilizing. This statistic right here, to me, is pretty impactful, where it shows where we are today and in 2021, what IT leaders are looking at as far as on-premise-based UC infrastructure compared to the cloud offerings. So 90% of IT leaders see themselves in 2021 completely moving to cloud-based offerings. And it's not just because of what's happening today. And I want to be clear with that. It's really because of what it does. The features, the functions, the dashboards, and some of the things that we'll talk about today, which shows the advantage that companies have moving away from their old PBX infrastructure into that more of a mobile workforce. This particular slide right here, and the last one as well, this was brought to us by Gartner. And this survey was taken in June of this year. And a couple of stats that really stand out to me. Number one, it talks about 82% of the employees are remotely working some of the time. I think that's pretty standard for what is going on today. You can read the next two stats there. I'm not going to go through all of them, but that bottom stat is, for myself, something that really jumped out, where 85% of businesses confirm that productivity has increased in their company because of greater flexibility. When they did this study, they were looking at verticals such as HR, IT, healthcare, financial industries, real estate. So they're seeing the benefit of the flexibility that employees are having working mobily, and also the benefits that it brings to them. You know what? I'm going to go back one sec. We have our first money giveaway. So Jason Manning, if you can help me out with this one. Here's our first question, everyone. Again, use the chat pod for this. So we're going to go fast fingers to give away $50 here on a Visa gift card. By 2021, what percentage of IT leaders will not purchase premise-based UC infrastructure, up from 50% today? And Jason, you can come off mute and tell me when we have somebody.
I see answers trickling in.
I do, yeah. I think so. We have 90 and we have 85.
90 is right on the money. So who said 90?
Jacob Chernoff.
Way to go, Jacob. Congratulations. Thank you very much for getting that answer in there fast. We'll be sending that $50 out to you as well. And let's talk a little bit more about the companies that are still on that old premise PBX and why make that move to the cloud. I know from my experience coming from telecom, especially, I was working for Verizon actually for 16 years before I came over to RingCentral. And it's hard to teach an old horse new tricks sometimes, right? There's that sense of security, that sense of I'm used to this solution. I know how it works. I'm not going to change. But I'm sure many of you are aware of what happens to companies that stay stagnant and they don't keep up with technology. There's many examples of how they didn't progress, and in some instances failure. So on the screen here, and again, I don't want to go through every single bullet, but a couple things that I do want to pull out of this. It really does simplify multi-location management. It is so easy to use and it's so scalable. So as your business grows, as you add employees, especially at a time like this, it's very easy for your employees to plug and play. I started with RingCentral in March 16th of this year. And the first day at the office was when our office shut down. So I was given a laptop at the front door and told, go home and we'll help you get all set up. I got to tell you, that drive home, there was a lot of trepidation. I was a little scared about starting with a new company and not being in an office. Within 4 hours, I was plugged in. I was up and running with our office app, which I'm going to share with you. I was communicating with my coworkers through instant messaging, through video, and I was already taking my online trainings. It was amazing how simple it was for me to do. And I consider myself somewhat technically inclined, but by no means am I a Ken. And I've never once had to even call IT for help with that. So the scalability of moving, the mobility of it, the ability to work anywhere, anytime, and again, the footprint of having offices in different parts of the world or the country with a cloud-based solution makes it so easy to keep your communication secured. So how are we going to do this? Let's talk about future-proofing more of your communications and some of the things that are involved in that as well. So this is a mantra that when I started here at RingCentral, we used to say, hey, employees want to work anywhere, on any mode and on any device. That's definitely changed now to where we need to work anywhere on any mode, on any device. But this stands out to me as well. Only 30% of business leaders feel that their organization is prepared to make that move to that mobile workforce, even though we show that 85% of people are more productive when they have that flexibility, and that 90% of the IT leaders are going to be moving into a cloud-based infrastructure. Only 30% today feel prepared. So there, again, with the change, when I go back to for a lot of companies, there's a lot of worry with that. And these are some of the things that keep our leaders up at night, IT leaders up at night, C-level leaders up at night when it comes to companies. These are some things that employees are not prepared to work from home. These are some of the things that kind of hold them back. A few that I want to call out here. Number one, app overload. I want to talk about how many applications people are using today. We're going to get into that as far as companies kind of patchworking things together when they had to move to a mobile solution instead of really simplifying it for their employees, and also how much time that takes for employees to toggle from app to app. What's the capacity issue at their home? How is the video quality? How is the call quality? Are they using their personal device? All these things are things that frequent downtime that employees are faced with. Little to no integration. So they want to continue to use some of the applications that they're using today, but they can't integrate that. So a lot of key things on here to keep in mind as you move your employees into a mobile workforce. Lastly on this one, we already mentioned any device, any mode, anywhere. And I'm going to come back to that when I actually share our RC Office application and give you kind of a bit of a tour with that. The things that I haven't touched on yet that we will get to, I already talked about. It's easy to use and manage. I am a perfect example of that, but it really is easy to buy. When you partner up with Bickert and companies like that, and they work hand in hand with RingCentral, our goal is to make it simplistic for the customer. So we want to, help guide you all the way through and make that transition as easy as possible. So let me tell you a little bit about RingCentral here in a couple slides, and then we're going to have another question for you. So a few foundational tenets that we kind of hang our hat on. Number one is quality. So Jason had mentioned the security before, and making sure that not only your data is secure, but your communications are secure and everything's working. One of the things that we pride ourselves on, I will say, is our 5.9 SLA, so our service level agreement. What that breaks down to, if you look at that, is that our cloud is down for an average of about 78 seconds per quarter. That's pretty incredible, especially for myself coming from a telecom industry who had to deal with a lot of blackouts and outages, to see that now representing a company that has the 5.9s and what that relates to time-wise. And a lot of times that might just be an update or a software update that's done late at night to the cloud anyways, which is another benefit where you don't have to do anything. It automatically updates for you. I already talked about how UCaaS is scalable and how simple it is to grow. Again, harken back to my example and plug and play without having an IT department next to me. The redundancy that we have 24 data centers worldwide. So if anything were to happen, natural disasters, things of that nature, we have backups at other data centers to make sure that everything continues to function. Your data is secure. We'll talk a little bit more about security a little bit later, but one of the things that we do pride ourselves on is the 7 layers of security and making sure that the data is encrypted and safe. And finally, that our cloud and UCaaS is 5G ready to go. And kind of the last thing I want to talk about, just about RingCentral before I get in a little bit more about some of the things that we offer, specifically that application. I'd mentioned the data centers in 41 countries with local service. When it comes to our phone, if you look at the revenue, the growth, I'm not going to sit here and get on a soapbox about RingCentral. The bottom line here when we look at this is that companies want to do business with companies that are reputable. And when it comes to UCaaS and a cloud-based solution, RingCentral is the #1 footprint in the world. So the reputation kind of stands on its own. And we have a 98% customer retention rate, by the way. So when people join us, they don't tend to leave us. All right, I gave you a sneak preview of what's coming next. So I got another giveaway for you before we transition. And this is going to, again, be given away in the chat pod. So Jason, if you don't mind helping me out, Jason Manning or Jason Bickert, it doesn't matter. Name one of the reasons employees are not prepared to work from home. And there's multiple answers here, Jason, so you can call any of them out.
Well, we've got a lot, but Shivani Kumar had app overload. That was the first one I saw come in. We also had some very good answers. We had Wi-Fi, we had limited training, and we had policy.
All good answers, all correct answers. And Shivani, nice job. App overload, definitely. And we're going to look at that a little closer. So great job, Shivani. And we will get that Visa card out to you as well. All right, let's keep cruising along here. And from a company standpoint, the next few slides I'll go through rather quickly. But when you think about yourselves representing your employees and what checklists you really need to make, we looked at some of those considerations before, what's holding employees back. But what are we going to do to make sure that the communication stays, continuous when it comes to our peer-to-peer within the company, when it comes to our customer base, and most importantly, and this is so important, is that we're providing our employees a hassle-free experience. A stressful employee we know is not a productive employee. And I had that same example for me. I had 20 minutes of stress before I realized how easy this was and really helped make my experience joining this company enjoyable. So some of the things to think about, a couple just basic checklist items. And again, for myself, getting a laptop and going home, the questions that I was asked was, what's my bandwidth at home? What else do I need at home? From some of the basic things from, monitors, mouse, whatever it may be, to what integrations or software am I using today that I want to work with RingCentral, the training that I had to take, had to learn about the security, obviously, which we'll touch on in a little bit, as well, of the cloud. So all the different things that leadership needs to keep in mind. And again, I won't go through every bullet on the screen because I really do enjoy this next page, because it speaks to what is so important with companies is how do we maintain that culture that we had in the office, but now that we're all working mobilely, what are some of the things that we can do to still drive that? I didn't know what the culture was at RingCentral. I didn't get a chance to meet my peers face to face, but with the ability to communicate through the application, through messaging, video, through voice, through all the various meetings we had, they were able to implement or, kind of mirror almost the same feeling I would have had I been in the office. So some basic things, just a couple of tips for you. And again, this is something that a lot of companies are already doing, and if not, probably should be doing more, having more fun virtual events. I'm trying to do my best to, make the virtual events here a little more interactive with the questions and the brunches. So what can we do within our meetings to make it a little more interactive? Maybe sometimes meetings, right, can just be a mixology class or a game or something like that. So just various things that you can utilize within the cloud to help drive the culture of the company, because we know employees want to work for a company that they feel bonded to. And lastly, the setup process. I mentioned how easy it was. This is just kind of a snapshot here to show what I was given, which was basic link, right? Because we're browser based. It's so easy to just click and plug and play. And there were a lot of blogs along the way to help me as well for this setup. So I actually never even had to pick up the phone once to call anybody. All right, let me show you what to me is my mimosa of the day, which is the message, video, and phone. This is kind of the thing you look forward to the most when I go to brunch, and also the thing when I started RingCentral that really stood out to me, which differentiated this application from so many others that are out there on the market. I'm gonna take you on a tour of what this is. So our RC office, our RingCentral office, has message, phone, and video all in one application in addition to integrating other apps. So what you're looking at here is a screenshot of what I might see on my desktop. I can also have this on my smartphone. I can also have this on my tablet. We go back to the any device, any mode, anywhere, anytime. It's the ability for me to work at all locations. Cool things about this, just a couple cool things that I want to call out. Number one on the left-hand side is, you know, my basic setup of all the people that I'm chatting with. We call that glipping here at RingCentral. It's our instant messaging. And similar to many other applications, I can have team glips and group glips or individual glips. But what's really cool with this one is, you know, let's say me and Jason Bickert here are talking about the call today, and we're messaging back and forth. And I said, you know what, Jason, it'd be better if we could really speak face to face. I can just click on the video icon and it immediately goes to a video call without skipping a beat. I don't have to send them an invitation. Or I could just click on the phone icon and have it go to a phone call from the messaging. I can also do that for the group as well. If I had a group of people, I could turn it into a video message as well. Another thing is you don't have to be part of the RingCentral family or have a subscription. I can invite people that I'm doing business with, and still they can enjoy the features of the instant messaging, and I can video call and video chat with them and phone call. So I don't have to go into my Gmail or my Outlook to set up an invitation for that. Another great thing with this, which for me, this has replaced email. The file size restrictions, there are none. So I can send this deck to anybody through Glip. I can send videos. I can send any pictures I want, and I don't have to worry about, you know, clogging up someone's email box. And I also don't have to worry about the size file being too large to send in the first place. So that's pretty awesome as well. Another nice thing is the ability for me, if I'm watching a presentation right now, and I am sitting down like most of you are at a desk, and let's say, oh my gosh, I got to go pick up the kids in 15 minutes, but I want to continue to listen. I can just switch this over to my phone, to my tablet, whichever I want. It doesn't drop, it doesn't buffer. I can go to my car, plug it in my Bluetooth on my way to the school, and I can still listen in. So you can bounce around from device to device during the conversation, during the webinar. Running low on a battery somewhere, I'm going to switch it over to my tablet. So it's a pretty great feature of this application. On the right-hand side, I mentioned the open API. We are going to talk about that in a sec. I have a few slides on the various apps that we work with, but to consolidate everything in one area makes it simple for people to do business. So I can have my Salesforce app here, my Dropbox, I can have my Teams, my Microsoft, you know, my 365, everything in one place. So I'm not jumping around and wasting time, throughout the day looking for my various applications. Again, awesome feature. This is something that's someone like Ken in the future, being a solutions engineer, another engineer, if this is something that you want to further demo on, dive a little bit deeper into it and actually see the live functionality, just circle back with Jason and we'd be more than happy to show you how that works live. I kind of just gave you the highlights there of the tour. So the applications, I mentioned our integration with 2,000 apps. I actually believe that's a little higher now, but we are an open platform. So that allows us to integrate with a lot of this enterprise applications that are being used today by companies. A lot of people are, you know, they don't want to lose what they're using today. They are sold to working with Microsoft Teams. I get it, Microsoft's a giant. Guess what? That's one thing that is really nice with our cloud is that it's a native integration. There's no software upgrades, no download with Teams. Teams looks the same to you if you're using Teams today. Same interface on your desktop, same interface on your smartphone as well. But now you can add in, you know, the advantage of the voice that we provide and the global footprint that we provide in addition to that. Applications, a couple more things on that applications. I mentioned this earlier, how a lot of companies
Can
today.
I jump in for just a quick
Yeah.
second, Steve?
Oh, please.
I'll get you to hop back one slide. So as part of something that we've done extensive research on, and as part of knowing business inside and out, because that's who we are, we're the business that grows business. We've also partnered with a company called Zoho, and I don't think you can see it right this second, but as the animation played, its logo passed by a couple of times. Zoho integrates with RingCentral fantastically, and it's also part of the reason why we chose RingCentral as the communication tool. For those of you who aren't already on the Zoho platform, I know a few of you are, but those who aren't, of course, RingCentral integrates directly with all of your Microsoft Teams and the Microsoft Suite as well. You can see Salesforce and other CRMs, but even with the powerful integrations of RingCentral, you always want to make sure that everything is seamlessly connected. If you have Salesforce and your open API connecting into other applications, which are then open API connecting into other applications, and you're daisy chaining these things together, it becomes very inefficient. As I kind of mentioned in the chat box there, spotting these mudas, these business inefficiencies, these business waste, is something that we have a critical eye for, and it's part of the reason why we also highly recommend Zoho going hand in hand with RingCentral, because all of these apps, I'm going to say the better part of 1,000 or 2,000 of them are all covered in Zoho's 60-ish apps, and they're always adding new ones to make sure everything is seamlessly speaking to one another. So rather than, as we alluded to earlier, having that app bogged down or app overload, I think was the exact phraseology that was used. You have your Zoho app and you have your RingCentral app. So the ability that they can speak to one another is something that you really need to critically consider for your business, even outside of using it within the context of BMI or using it within the context of another company. It's just one thing that I wanted to interject really quickly, because 2,000 plus custom integrations is fantastic, but why do you need 2,000 plus when you can only have to deal with one or two?
Great point. And Jason, that really kind of takes me to, and thanks for saying that, because that really tees this slide up very well for us. When we look at a lot of companies today, and you were talking, just right there about efficiencies and do we really need to use so much? I go back to our message, our video in our phone with our MVP, and we can look at how consolidating a lot of that, instead of using different applications, different subscriptions, not only an administrative headache for all the things that we have to, do from a billing standpoint, but also from a cost savings. This kind of paints a good picture of how it can save you money to consolidate everything into one application. So simplifying your business is key. We all know that. And also for your employees, simplifying the way that they do business and the savings that it provides. I think we have one more question coming up here, just to give everyone a heads up on the next slide that has to do with some of the stuff that I just covered there. I wish it was most valuable player, but it's we're not watching the game right now. So in the RingCentral world, what does MVP stand for? And I'll let any of the panelists let me know when we have a winner.
We have some thinking going on.
Okay.
We got scalability, which
it's the acronym.
How about one word in the acronym?
I'll take that. Think of the application, what I talked about. It can do three things all in one. We'll roll this one over.
I know. Here we go. Well, Michael has answered us. He has the entire thing: message, video, and phone. And that is
thank you, Michael.
Very correct.
Way to come in. I appreciate that. Yeah, I had to take and my new hire, obviously, probably a full hour training on that. And you got that right in about 5 minutes. So nice work.
Michael says, give it to Lana, and we can do that. I will take a note of that as well.
You got it. Very generous of you. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate the right answer there. A couple more things here before I hand it over to Ken. I know that we have some verticals on the call today that might be attending from the nonprofit world, and I just want to point out some of the benefits that UCaaS and the cloud-based solution can do when it comes to nonprofit organizations and thinking about what you do. And for myself, I had the opportunity to research some of the heartaches of nonprofits and talking to friends that are in nonprofit. I know the number one thing is money and spending. And again, that shows there when it comes to what the nonprofits are spending on software compared to hardware. And also just getting volunteers is a huge thing, and getting people to donate, things of that nature. So what can RingCentral help when it comes to that? As you're looking through some of these stats on the screen, I think this next slide actually breaks it down really nicely, that effective nonprofits require collaboration. And again, it goes back to that application I looked at, other things that we offer, but the ability to be mobile, to be in touch with people in any mode, anywhere, in any device, and especially when a lot of the volunteers are so busy with their own jobs, often it's not easy to sometimes communicate. So some of the things that we've seen from nonprofits with the use of cloud is 71% of nonprofit revenues come from individual donors. 4 out of 5 charities leverage volunteers, but few effectively manage their volunteer resource, and 55% of nonprofits don't handle sensitive data and cybersecurity. So what can we do for that? Well, we've had some success, and I have some slides that I'm not going to share for the sake of time that talks about Salvation Army and some other nonprofits that we have partnered up with that have increased their fundraising. It's helped with their organization of their staff and volunteers and the way that they communicate. And again, with our security as well, which I'm going to touch on here. And then Ken's going to talk a little bit about some of the compliance and certifications that we have, has been a big win for us when it comes to nonprofit organizations. And if you want to know more about any of the special offerings that we give to nonprofit, I encourage you to circle back with Jason. Something that you can work with Bickert with, and I know that RingCentral does its part as well to make sure that we're giving discounts and the right pricing to those nonprofits. So if you want a deeper dive into that, definitely circle back with Jason. And lastly here, Ken, before I hand it over to you, RingCentral security. And this is a lot going on here really in this banner. But what I want to call out on the first 3 on banners there, all the various companies that RingCentral partners with for that 7 layers of security to make sure that the data is encrypted and safe. We pride ourselves on that reputation, and it shows on the bottom when it comes to all the various compliances and certifications that we've gone through in different industries, such as healthcare, financial services. We have invested a lot into our security and making sure that we are compliant and passing those certifications. And with that, Ken, I am going to stop sharing because I think this is a good place for me to catch my breath and for check my egg casserole, and I'm going to have you pick it up.
Sounds good. Can you guys hear me okay, first of all?
Can hear you great.
All right, fantastic. Yeah, so security, I'll go through a couple slides here, but then I also want to show you just from the service web itself, just some of the key security functions that admins have with the RingCentral platform. But I think the main thing to think about with security is it's really a science and an art, really, to put together the multiple pieces that you saw on that NASCAR slide of all the different pieces that go into enabling a secure cloud environment. So I just had a couple, like I said, I had a couple slides here, and like Steve was mentioning, and by the way, Steve, you and I probably crossed paths before at Verizon, since I worked there as well before coming to RingCentral. That's actually good to know that you were there before. But the RingCentral cloud security model, we definitely take, as Stephen mentioned, security very, very seriously. Really a lot of different layers in this, and I'm not going to go through every single one. I just wanted you to see that it's a combination of a lot of different things that enable a security architecture. So I see some chat things coming in, but I'm just going to keep going here with the with this. So you've
That's
got
just
user
me.
service
Sorry.
administration. I'm sorry, what was that, Jason?
That's just me. Sorry.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. Application security, access and boundary security, data security, platform security, security analytics, physical security, and independent verification, like those third-party audits that we go through, and security testing to get our attestations for like SOC 2, for HIPAA. We are currently in the process of working on our FedRAMP attestation. We should have that. It looks like on the active roadmap we're, fourth quarter of this year, but to be safe, I would say, first quarter of 21 next year, and we should have that completed. I know it's a very common question that we get a lot as far as one of the other attestations that we are missing at this point from the government sector, but it is coming. So we're excited to, go through that process and get that moving along for us. So this is going to get a little busy, but I think it will give you a really good idea of those layers that I just showed you and where they play within the RingCentral architecture and how it actually works and protects with customers. So I've got my access and border security here into the network. So, we're talking about firewalls, being able to protect our session border controllers and things like that. So I'm just going to pop this open here. So we've got user and service administration. These are really key roles, right? We give in the RingCentral Office platform the capability for admins to set up roles and permissions for users. We have very strong passwords, so alphanumeric based passwords. We have support for single sign-on. I mean, this is really key to be able to offer that so that from not only from logging into the service web, but also logging into your individual applications, whether it be the RingCentral desktop application or your mobile application, we do support the single sign-on option. Now, we use Okta here internally with RingCentral, so every time I log into my mobile application, as an example, I am presented with an Okta login screen where I have to put my corporate credentials in order to gain access to the mobile application, the RingCentral mobile application on my mobile device. We do support other third-party identity providers. It's something you could reach out to us if you want to talk further about single sign-on, but definitely we do support that. Let's go into here. Let's see. Down here we've got encryption at rest and on customer endpoints. We listen here RingCentral Softphone and the mobile application. Steve had mentioned in there the messaging, video, and phone, or the MVP application, the RingCentral app. Now, we store that data, which you guys probably know is it's unlimited storage, unlimited file size capacity. We store that data with 256K AES encryption. And that's very key. I'll just give you a little hint. You want to remember that here as we move through the presentation. So just remember, information stored at rest is 256K AES encryption. Or if you want to say AES 256K, that's fine as well. But the key to it is that the information is stored in the platform with that level of key encryption, which is very, very difficult to break. And it's actually at a file level. So it does add a lot of security to the information that's being stored on the RingCentral network. Transmission security. So we're talking here endpoint to endpoint, RingCentral user to RingCentral user. So TLS, or transparent or transport LAN services, is used for encrypting the SIP registration. That's a key thing. We want to make sure that not only do you have the SIP registrations protected into our network and secure, we're also doing that also on the physical phones. So physical phones also have the capability to have a secure registration connection into the RingCentral platform. Encrypted voice, SRTP is what we use in that environment. Secure real-time transport protocol. So that allows us to encrypt the media between endpoints in the RingCentral network. So if you need that as a if you need that turned on, it's not standardly turned on, but you can go with your account team and ask them to have that particular feature enabled on the account. Access and border security, right? This is all the combination of things that builds this architecture of security in the cloud. So we want to make sure that we have access verification to the network, like we were just talking about with the session border controllers and endpoint devices registering to the network. We of course manage our own firewalls, which were part of that NASCAR slide of security. VPN connectivity. We have load balancing capabilities within the network. Our session border controllers, and we do DDoS mitigation. It's very important for us to be able to do that and to monitor and manage that in the event of any type of attack into our platform, so that we can make sure that we can see the attack. We model off of what's going on in the network, so we know when there is an anomaly or something that's not right, and so we can continue to keep the network functioning and our customers working while we mitigate what we believe could be a denial of service attack. So application, physical, and infrastructure. You know, Steve had mentioned our network. We host with Equinix, Tier 1 data center providers. We have physical security there. They have security guards. There's retinal scanning. It's our own servers within the Equinix platform. So we have our own equipment, our own servers, locked in a cage. It's our own network, our own circuits. So we are trying to do everything that we can to ensure that the cloud service and the RingCentral Office platform service that we provide is as secure as possible. Up across the top there, third-party testing and attestation. So as you guys saw again on that NASCAR slide on the very bottom, just our ability to go in and work through all these different third parties to get these attestations. So SOC 2, HIPAA compliancy, those types of things. And again, like I had mentioned before, we're working on the FedRAMP. So up there across the top, you can see HIPAA, High Trust, FINRA, SOC 2 for service operations, and also the Sky High Enterprise Ready attestation as well. So to kind of layer this down, right? Architecture, it's a science. It's a little bit of an art too to build this type of thing. And it's really a multi-layered defense platform. So we've got, and this, I like this chart. It really sort of takes all that what we went through, and we talk about, you know, what's up front: network security, firewall, session border controllers, DDoS mitigation, encryption of data transmission, infrastructure security. So we've got the things that we're doing there as far as our servers and our patching capability, anti-malware, at-rest encryption, and I'll say it again, 256K AES encryption. I can't say that too many times here, just giving you guys a hint. Vulnerability scanning and configuration scanning. And then our secure software development. You know, we have different teams across the world that work on software development for us as internal employees. We definitely want to make sure that we keep that secure and that we do testing up front. We have a very specific way that we as a company roll out our upgrades to the network to ensure that if we do run into an issue with like a new quarterly update to any of the applications or to the phone system instances, that we have that failback capability during that implementation process. But we do tons of testing before we ever get to the point where we're putting any software updates into the production network. Identity and access management. You know, this really gets into what the users can control. The single sign-on piece of it. account federation if you need that, roles and permissions, event detection, so intrusion detection, multi-type analytics, system logs, network flows, endpoints. And then the data centers themselves, like we talked about, the SOC 2 certifications that we have there, the ISO 27001. We have private cages, the biometric access, guards and surveillance as well. So a pretty extensive layered security model. And hopefully that got a little bit of information across to you guys on that. And then
I'd love to jump in just on that really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. You jump away.
we have a question here, and it actually touches on something that I was going to ask you directly anyway, so it's perfect timing. Question is, what assurances do customers have that CCP doesn't infiltrate, like the Huawei event, the TikTok data stealing, the Zoom event, the WeChat incident? All of these things are very secure information that's suddenly out there and open and in other government hands or other third-party hands. How does RingCentral handle these sorts of things? What sort of mitigating factors? What sort of assurances?
Yeah, that's a great question, and maybe I don't have the total knowledge depth to be able to answer completely. I would say, like, for example, with our RingCentral meetings powered by Zoom, since we do have a very strong relationship with Zoom, we were very proactive in our response to the situation that was going on with the Zoom infiltrations that happened back in March and April. In that case, we are a little bit more in a reactive mode because it is a white labeled service directly from Zoom and the platform. However, on the RingCentral video platform, we already built in a lot of the security controls that were of concern during the development stage. So being able to have administrators have the capability to force passwords, as an example, for meetings. Being able to force or give admins the permission to force users to not allow people to join before the conference starts. So just those types of things, we had forethought into that already. And quite honestly, the RingCentral video platform was not affected by what was going on with the Zoom infiltrations that were happening at the time. And one thing, and it's actually really good, it's a good story, and one thing that I would like to show you real quick too, let me just switch my screen share, if you guys don't mind here. Gives me a great place to go back across. There are a couple, I gotta move this toolbar out of the way because I can't see what I'm doing. So what I did too is I just did a couple of searches out on our knowledge base, and I want to encourage people to go out there and do searches for RingCentral security. Here's one in here that I pulled up that just talks again about the different layers: transmission, infrastructure, physical, our FINRA, our compliance, our HIPAA compliance, our high trust, our Sky High right here. So this is out on our publicly facing knowledge base site. And the other thing that you could do too is, there's an article that I found by doing searches. Let me see, this one here, this is the one I want to show you guys. This is also out on the public knowledge base, and we had put this out within about a week of things that were going on with the Zoom platform. And we came into here and we offered up all the questions that were out there in the public, as well as what we had heard through just opening, customers and partners opening up support cases and things like that. We put together a really nice RingCentral meetings powered by Zoom security response here. And you can go out here and take a look at those individual questions and concerns that were part of that issues that occurred back in March and April, and you can see exactly what our response was and what we did to further mitigate any further issues with those particular holes. So hopefully that was I know it was kind of a long-winded answer there, and I said I didn't know a whole lot about it, but hopefully that was helpful. Anything else on that, Jason?
No, fantastic. I think that actually your comment about I don't necessarily know, but I think I know, is a great example of something that within anybody who's looking at RingCentral, when you're talking about the partnership with BMI that we have, it's part of, well, it's okay to say we don't know. We want you to be aware of these features and things that you don't have to know how they operate, because we've got much more brilliant minds behind the scenes making sure that everything is already, thought of, proactively taken care of, as you commented on. And to that
Yep.
end, even as you look at the admin home here, I made a comment in the chat that BMI has certified RingCentral set up on board. So for all of the security and the technical talk that might have, glazed a few eyes over, or gone above somebody's head like it did for mine, a lot of the technical acronyms, it's okay, because there are things within there where you're looking at it and you're going, well, I don't have to know everything, because we have the people in place, either at RingCentral or through BMI, that we're able to take care of any of these issues, and we've already got the best people on the job. So you just have to be aware of it for your own peace of mind and for your own idea generation.
Yeah, absolutely. Good points. I mean, security is, truly, it's a specialization, right? And so as long as you know where the resources are and how to get to them and have a base understanding of what the architecture is, it really fills in a lot of the gaps, but definitely it's something that you could spend a lifetime understanding and learning and being certified in, for that matter, from a security perspective. I did want to show a couple other things that kind of drives you towards one of the other questions that could be coming up, or not. I can't completely confirm or deny that. So Steve,
Ken, before you jump into that real quick, I know, John, I saw you raised your hand, and maybe it was by accident. I don't know if you had something you wanted to add to this as well. I unmuted you if there was anything that you wanted to add, John Bickert. I just noticed that in the attendee pod, and maybe it's my mistake.
Thank you. I do a lot of communications with people in India. I know that you're working on an infrastructure for India. When I use RingCentral and communicate with people through RingCentral to India, because they aren't part of the BMI or Bickert Management, will their communications with me be as secure as mine? Just by using RingCentral generally?
I would say yes, because it's endpoint to RingCentral endpoint, for that matter. So it's going to be a call that's processed over our network, over a SIP registered device into our platform. So my answer to that would be yes. That you would have the encryption capability on like a soft phone endpoint from a user in any location to another RingCentral user.
Right. And you mentioned that you were setting up in a couple of places like Mumbai in India, some kind of an infrastructure system. There's no ability for them to download and use that RingCentral right now for them?
Well, what you have right now is we have limited or pretty much suspended anything in India as far as using a gateway solution there for local calling, because we do not want to jeopardize what we're doing right now from the agreements that we're working on with the specific telco circles there. As that gets completed and opens up and we have our infrastructure finished there, we will be able to, again, do global office in there. Now, does that mean that you couldn't put a US-based licensed user in India? Yes, as long as you can figure out how to bypass any of the firewalling issues that you may run into from the government there, which is probably most likely what you would run into. But if you can mitigate or get past that, I don't see any reason why you couldn't spin up a US-based user license for a user in India. Again, it's going to be a country firewall traversal issue at that point, not necessarily a RingCentral issue.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So guys, I wanted to show just a couple other things, and I do apologize because I do have a hard stop at the bottom of the hour, but I just really wanted to quickly show you that we have an audit trail built into here. We don't talk a bunch about this when we do standard demos. However, it's a great place for an admin to come into and see, you know, what's been going on within the system, who's making changes, what are they making changes to, what type of logins are happening within the platform. So this is a really good first step into really getting some insight into, you know, things that are going on within the platform by the users or other administrators. The other thing is the security and compliance option drop down right here. And I'm logged in as an administrator into here. But this is where you would provision and set up your single sign-on as an administrator for your account. Also in here is that trust portal. So this trust portal will take you into all of our attestation information that we have available. So if you are a RingCentral account and you are the administrator, you can get into here and look at our trust portal. And this is where we actually have our attestation descriptions for everything under the Unified Communications as a Service platform or RingCentral Office. As well as if you scroll down through here too, we also include near the bottom as we scroll through our contact center information as well. So these you'd be able to go into and look at the actual attestation report. And it's just a great place to go into, and just if you want to see where we're at with things or what is actually in the attestation, this is a great place to be able to reference that. The other option that you could do too is work with your account team if you're selling to Channel Harmony. And if we have an NDA, there is another security site that we have as well that we can email documents out to specific individuals that are requesting it. But again, it does require a non-disclosure agreement. And those generally happen with customers that we may be working with that are RingCentral accounts, but they're looking for a refresh and security information from us. It's a great way to be able to just get some updated information on those attestations. And then a couple other things that we had talked about in here, and I do apologize, I do need to drop off, is just, we talked a little bit about the meeting settings in here, but the RingCentral meeting settings in here, this is where it allows you as an administrator, if hopefully this loads, thank you to home internet connectivity. This is where you can go in as an administrator and actually set those security settings. Now in this case, it's for RingCentral video, but this is where I can come into, and we had talked about earlier in the beginning, as far as being able to set a specific security requirement for a video screen share conference, and then locking it here so that the user is forced to have to use a password, or the user that's using the system is forced to where participants can only join after the host is joined. Again, it's just making sure that you are safe and you don't end up having somebody come in and hijack a RingCentral video or a RingCentral meetings powered by Zoom meeting, and you can keep it secure for your business purposes. So Steve, with that, I do apologize. I have to drop.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Take care, everyone.
Okay. Appreciate it. And hey, thanks everyone. Actually, I want to see if I can share my screen one more time. I'm going to do one last giveaway here before we wrap it up. And we appreciate, Jason, the opportunity to jump on with everybody today. And hey, let's give away $100 for this one before we call it out and call it a day. And I'm hungry because this smells good. So who will you contact for more detailed information about a cloud-based solution? And what do we got here? Jason Manning, do you see a winner?
I don't see one yet.
Who are we gonna contact? Who can you circle back with for more information about what you've heard today?
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay.
Now they're rolling in.
So
I probably didn't phrase that very well.
You know, yeah, between a few of these people, we got some excellent answers. But I think first was Jacob Chernoff, who said Jason. Second was Hannah
Absolutely.
George, who said Bickert. So I think we can likely spread the love and get you
Do
guys
it.
both something. So we'll do that. And yeah.
Thank you so much
I'll
and
keep
appreciate it.
posted.
And Jason, thanks for the opportunity. I'm going to let you close us out here before we go. It was nice having brunch with everybody today. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Steve, and a delayed or belayed thank you to Ken, who joined us. Everybody, as you are throwing in those comments, yes, by all means. Some of you already have the information. Some of you need it. Some of you are already on RingCentral. Some of you didn't even know it existed before today. So by all means, any questions, direct them my way. You'll get an email from me pretty well immediately after we wrap up this webinar. I would love for you to send me your feedback, information, ideas, suggestions, criticism, comments, pretty much anything and everything. It's BMI's motto to perpetually refine, and to do that, we need the feedback from our participants, our attendees, so that we know what worked, what didn't, what we need to actually improve on, and what we can do to make you give more value to you out of these. Steve, that looks fantastic. How do I get the recipe?
I will be sending it to everybody, I promise. And I hope you all enjoy it. My mom will be thrilled if you do. I'll tell you that. So yeah, I will send it out to everybody.
Perfect. Well, with that, we're just about 5 minutes past the half hour here. I got a few private messages that people are wrapping up and ready to bounce. So I will officially close this from BMI side. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending. This will be up on our YouTube channel, of course, once we get everything processed. So if you have any suggestions, ideas, comments, you can leave them there too. Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
And thank you,
Thanks,
Jason
everybody.
Manning.
All right. Have a great day.